diving in. We're all about Nepal today. You've given me some super interesting stuff to work with.
Awesome.
Get Nepal. It's way more than just mountains. We're talking ancient history, diverse culture, and even adventure sports beyond like the epic treks everyone thinks about.
Yeah.
This deep dive, it's your shortcut to becoming like Nepal savvy.
I think a lot of people, they think of Nepal and they just think of, Mount Everest, trekking.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than that. Like you were saying, ancient history, vibrant culture, diverse landscapes. It's a country where like ancient traditions meet modern challenges.
Yeah.
The landscape shapes the culture and the experiences. It's really, really fascinating.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
Some essential, pre-trip stuff.
Yeah, gotta have the basics.
First up, visas.
Super important.
Sources say there's a kind of weird thing. Some nationalities can get a visa when they arrive,
Right.
but others got to apply beforehand.
Yeah.
Did you know people from like Afghanistan, Cameroon, Ethiopia, Ghana, Iraq, Liberia, Nigeria, Palestine, Syria, Somalia, Swaziland, and Zimbabwe, they all have to apply in advance?
Yeah, it's one of those things that highlights how complex international travel can be.
Right.
Every country has different relationships.
Yeah.
Different rules.
Totally.
But regardless of how you get that visa, remember, golden rule, passport's got to be valid for at least 6 months after your planned exit from Nepal.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Yeah, it trips people up all the time.
For sure. Okay, and another thing that might trip people up. Get this. When you cross into Nepal by land, you need U.S. dollars for the visa fee.
Interesting.
No credit cards, no other currencies, just like straight up U.S. dollars.
Huh. Like a little time warp.
It's like going back in time. Why is that, do you think?
I think it probably reflects how historically U.S. dollars have been the go-to for international transactions.
Right.
Plus, at those remote border crossings, It can be hard to handle tons of different currencies.
Right, logistically.
But once you're inside Nepal, the Nepalese rupee is what you'll use.
Right.
That's the king.
As of today, March 3rd, 2025, $1 U.S. equals about 139.8 Nepalese rupees.
Oh, you'll feel like a millionaire.
You'll be rolling in it.
But that millionaire feeling might fade a bit when you leave the cities.
Oh, right.
Because credit cards not accepted everywhere.
Okay.
Especially in rural areas. So cash is king. Be prepared.
Yeah, good tip.
You will find ATMs in cities and towns, though. No worries there.
And you know me. Always got to get the travel hacks.
Of course.
The sources suggest Revolut for currency exchange.
Ah, yes. Good one.
Imagine you're like in a bustling market in Kathmandu.
Yes.
Haggling for a rug.
Beautiful hand-woven rug.
Having that Revolut card, competitive rates.
Yep.
No hidden fees.
Love it.
Could save you some rupees.
For sure.
Then you got more to spend on delicious momos.
Oh, yeah. You got to have those.
You got to try the momos. Okay, speaking of navigating those markets, language.
Right, language.
Nepali is the official language, but good news. English is widely spoken in touristy spots.
It's a relief, right?
That's a relief. But you know me. I love a challenge.
I figured.
Learning some basic Nepali phrases, I think it would be super cool. Not just to impress the locals, but just to enrich the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It shows respect.
What stands out to you about the Nepali language?
You know what I find really fascinating is how many of the local languages in Nepal are actually endangered.
Oh, wow.
It's a real reminder about the impact of globalization,
Yeah.
and how crucial it is to protect these unique cultural treasures.
It's a big responsibility for all of us, especially when we travel.
Especially when we travel. We have to be mindful.
Yeah, mindful and respectful.
Absolutely.
Okay, so etiquette.
Yes. The do's and don'ts.
Starting with that classic namaste greeting.
Yeah.
Palms pressed together.
Yeah, beautiful. And remember, dress modestly, especially at religious sites.
Right.
And be prepared to take your shoes off before entering temples or homes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's a sign of respect and cleanliness.
Okay, now here's one that I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
Apparently, whistling inside a house. Bad luck in Nepal.
Oh, really?
And you heard that one?
I had. It's fascinating how these little, seemingly insignificant things, they can have so much weight in different cultures.
Yeah, totally.
But the exact origins, I'm not entirely sure, probably rooted in some old beliefs.
Right.
Superstitions, maybe attracting evil spirits or disrupting the harmony of the house, who knows?
Yeah, it's a good example of how something small can mean so much in another culture.
For sure.
Now, some more practical customs. Always use your right hand for eating, giving, or receiving anything.
Good one, yeah. And watch your feet. Never point them at people or religious objects.
Okay.
And avoid touching anyone's head. It's considered disrespectful.
Oh, right.
And PDA.
Public displays of affection.
Yes. Keep it low-key in Nepal. While it's totally normal in some cultures, it's best to be a little more reserved there.
Okay, now we've covered the pre-trip basics. Ready to explore destinations.
Yes. Let's go.
Nepal is way more than just a mountain paradise.
Absolutely.
Kathmandu Valley.
The heart of Nepal.
The sources all point to those must-sees, the ancient Durbar squares,
Yes.
the magnificent Buddhanath Stupa,
Beautiful.
and the sacred Pashupatinath Temple.
Such an important site.
And amidst those iconic sites, don't overlook Samal.
Pamel.
It's the bustling tourist hub.
It's a labyrinth of shops, restaurants, guest houses.
Right.
You can find anything there, from trekking gear to souvenirs. And the energy. Contagious.
Oh, I love that. Hidden gems.
Lots of them.
When's the best time to visit Kathmandu?
Aim for autumn or spring.
Okay.
September, October, November. Or March, April, May. The weather is pleasant then. Clear skies.
Nice.
Perfect for exploring those ancient temples.
Okay. Avoiding the weather extremes.
Smart move.
Now let's get out of the hustle and bustle. Journey to Pokhara.
Ah, Pokhara.
The serene city of lakes.
Yes, the name says it all. Peaceful waters reflecting the majestic Annapurna Range.
Oh, that sounds so relaxing.
It is a different pace of life, a place to unwind, connect with nature,
Yeah.
even embark on some unique adventures.
The sources mention boating on Phua Lake, visiting the World Peace Pagoda, and even paragliding.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine soaring above those landscapes, the Himalayas as your backdrop?
It would be breathtaking.
It'd be amazing.
And for the trekking enthusiasts out there, Pokhara is the gateway to the legendary Annapurna Circuit,
Okay.
a trek known for its diverse landscapes and cultural immersion.
I'm adding it to my list.
Yeah.
Okay, but first, we got to talk about Chitwan National Park.
Yes.
For wildlife enthusiasts, it's like a dream come true.
Imagine embarking on a jungle safari, spotting one-horned rhinos, maybe even getting a glimpse of the elusive Royal Bengal tiger. You can even take a canoe ride down the Raptai River.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's a whole other dimension to your wildlife adventure.
Okay, I think we got to talk about trekking.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, Nepal, it's basically synonymous with trekking.
It is.
And the sources paint such a vivid picture
Right.
of all the different options.
Yeah, so many options.
There's Everest Base Camp, obviously.
Of course, the iconic one.
But there's a whole world of trails.
So many. You could do the challenging Annapurna Circuit, venture into the remote Manaslu Circuit, trek to the serene Gokyo Lakes, or discover the hidden beauty of the Langtang Valley.
It's almost overwhelming.
It is. There's so much to choose from.
So the Everest Base Camp trek is considered one of the best in the world, right?
It is, yeah. And the Annapurna Circuit.
Yep.
Popular for its diverse scenery. You go through lush valleys, high mountain passes, traditional villages. It's incredible.
Okay, so how do you choose a trek?
Well, that's where research comes in. An honest self-assessment.
Right.
Think about your fitness level, your experience, how comfortable you are with high altitudes.
Right.
You gotta choose something that aligns with your abilities,
Yeah.
aspirations, make sure it's safe and enjoyable.
Safety first.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've chosen our adventure.
Great.
How do we actually get around in Nepal? What are the transportation options?
Okay, so road transportation is the primary mode of getting around in Nepal.
Okay.
They've got a network of national highways, feeder roads connecting to district headquarters, district roads linking villages and towns, and urban roads within the cities.
So decent road network.
Yeah, they've been working on it.
What if I want to cover longer distances quickly or reach those, like, really remote trekking regions?
For that. Domestic flights are your best bet.
Okay.
Nepal Airlines, Buddha Air, and Yeti Airlines. They're popular choices. Connecting major cities and hard-to-reach areas. They can zip you between Kathmandu and Pokhara in no time, or get you closer to those remote trekking trails.
Sounds efficient.
It is.
But there's got to be a catch.
Well, weather can be a factor,
Oh, right.
especially during monsoon season.
Yeah.
And those flights can be a bit pricier and have luggage restrictions because they use smaller aircraft.
Okay. Noted.
And if you're planning on trekking to Everest Base Camp,
Yeah.
Lukla Airport, the gateway to the region.
Yeah.
It's notorious for sudden weather changes.
Oh, wow.
Most flights only operate in the morning because of the high altitude and challenging conditions.
Got it. Now, for the budget-conscious traveler, or, someone who wants to see Nepal a bit slower,
Right.
buses seem like a good option.
They are. They connect most cities and rural areas, give you a chance to really see the country.
Yeah.
And they even have tourist buses, which are a bit more comfortable. Just be prepared for long journeys.
Oh, wait.
Road conditions in Nepal can be challenging. Travel times unpredictable.
So patience is key.
Absolutely.
What about taxis?
Taxis are everywhere in the major cities. Convenient way to get around.
Okay.
Kathmandu. You'll even find metered taxis.
No need to haggle.
Well, even though metered taxis exist, it's still wise to negotiate the fare beforehand.
Okay.
Meters aren't always used.
Good to know. Any alternatives to, like, the traditional taxis?
Ride-hailing apps like Pathao and InDriver, they're becoming more and more popular in Nepal.
Oh, cool.
They're a convenient, often more reliable alternative to street taxis, especially in Kathmandu.
Technology to the rescue. Okay, we talk about getting between cities and towns, but what about when you're actually on a trek?
For trekking, especially in a mountainous and remote region like Nepal, I can't stress enough the value of a local guide.
Okay, yeah.
They bring so much knowledge about the region. They can keep you safe, help you navigate those trails.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any recommendations for finding, like, reputable guides or trekking companies?
If you're looking for organized treks, Exodus Travels and Wildland Trekking are known for their experienced guides and well-planned itineraries.
Okay.
They handle all the logistics, permits, accommodation.
So you can just enjoy the experience.
Exactly.
Fantastic. I'm adding those to my notes.
Good idea.
Okay, we covered visas, currency,
Yeah.
language, etiquette, destinations, transportation. What's next on our Nepal prep checklist?
Let's talk about where you'll rest your weary head after a day of exploring those incredible landscapes and soaking up all that rich culture.
Oh, yeah. Accommodation.
Yes. In Nepal, it ranges from budget-friendly to luxuriantly opulent.
Nice. I like options.
Oh, there are plenty. The sources mention some really swanky places, the Kathmandu Marriott Hotel, Dwarika's Hotel, the Hyatt Regency Kathmandu.
Ooh, fancy.
Right? And for those who want a truly unique and luxurious experience, there's the Shintamani Mustang. It's nestled in the rugged landscapes of Mustang, offers breathtaking views and unparalleled comfort.
Okay, I'm picturing myself there right now. Sipping chai tea on a balcony, Himalayas in the background.
I can see it, but for those of us who prefer a more authentic, local experience,
Yeah.
guest houses are a fantastic way to immerse yourself.
What about homestays?
Oh, homestays are incredible. You live with a local family.
Right.
You experience their daily life firsthand. It's the best way to connect with the culture, share meals, observe traditions, learn about their way of life.
I love that. So much variety in accommodation.
Tons.
And for the budget-conscious trekker, there are always tea houses.
Yes, tea houses. They're basic but cozy lodgings you'll find along the popular trekking routes.
Yeah.
They give you a place to sleep, eat, connect with fellow adventurers. Perfect for that authentic, budget-friendly trekking experience.
Okay, I think we've explored accommodations pretty thoroughly.
I think so.
Now, health and safety.
Ah, yes, crucial for any traveler, especially in a country as diverse and adventurous as Nepal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some key things to keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, we got to address the elephant in the room, or rather the mountain in the country, altitude sickness.
Oh? Yeah.
It can affect anyone, regardless of how fit you are.
So it's not just about being in shape.
Nope, not at all.
What do we need to know about altitude sickness?
The sources are super clear on this. Acclimatization is key.
Okay.
Ascend gradually. Give your body time to adjust to that thinner air. Stay hydrated. Avoid alcohol and smoking. And most importantly, descend immediately if you experience any severe symptoms. Don't mess around with altitude sickness.
Wow, okay, I didn't realize it could be that serious.
It can be.
So slow and steady wins the race when it comes to altitude.
Exactly.
What about food safety? Any Nepal-specific tips, or is it just the usual stuff?
It's mainly the usual, but it's worth repeating. Stick to bottled or boiled water. Avoid raw or undercooked food. And wash your hands. A lot.
Yeah, those are the golden rules.
They are.
Okay, what about mosquitoes? Are they a thing in Nepal?
They can be, yes. Mosquito-borne diseases like dengue and Japanese encephalitis are a risk, even in Kathmandu.
Oh, wow.
So make sure your accommodation is insect-proof. Pack plenty of repellent. And consider getting vaccinated against Japanese encephalitis.
Oh.
Just for peace of mind.
Okay, that's good advice. Now, this is a bit of an unsettling topic,
No.
but important.
Okay.
Drink spiking. What precautions can travelers take to stay safe?
You're right. It is an unfortunate reality. Just be really cautious when accepting drinks from strangers.
Okay.
Never leave your drink unattended. Not even for a second. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, definitely. So we covered altitude sickness, food safety,
Yep.
drink spiking. Any other health concerns we should know about?
Well, air pollution, especially in Kathmandu, can be a problem for some folks.
Right.
And there's leishmaniasis, a parasitic disease spread by sandflies.
Oh, wow.
That's more of a risk in rural areas.
Okay.
And then there's hepatitis C. It's a good idea to be aware of those things.
It sounds like there's a lot to consider. What's the best thing to do before traveling to Nepal?
I always recommend talking to a travel health professional before you go.
Right, yeah.
They can give you personalized advice based on your itinerary, check your vaccinations, and prescribe any medications you might need.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And in case of emergency, what numbers should we have handy?
Okay, so in Nepal, 100 is the police, 101 is the fire department, 102 is an ambulance. And for our listeners from the U.S., the U.S. Embassy in Nepal can be reached at +977-01-423-4000.
Got it. Those are going in my notes.
Smart.
Now let's talk about something that I think is really important. Responsible travel.
Yes, being a mindful traveler is so important, especially in a country as culturally rich and environmentally sensitive as Nepal.
Totally agree. How can we be respectful and minimize our impact?
This sources offer some good insights. Respecting local culture is paramount. We already touched on some etiquette, but it's worth repeating. Dress modestly, avoid PDA, always ask before taking photos of people. Learning some basic Nepali phrases can also go a long way.
Yeah, it's about those little gestures that show you're trying to connect with the culture.
Exactly. Now, minimizing environmental impact.
Okay.
Big one. Avoid single-use plastics. Carry out all your trash. Be mindful of water usage. You can also support eco-friendly trekking agencies and accommodations.
I love that, making choices that support sustainability.
It makes a difference.
Now, what about the environmental challenges facing Nepal? The sources mentioned deforestation and unsustainable road construction.
Yeah, those are serious issues. They can lead to soil erosion and landslides.
Oh, wow. That's concerning.
It is. But we can help mitigate these problems.
How so?
Be mindful of our choices. Support initiatives that promote sustainable practices. Every little bit helps.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Supporting local communities responsibly.
Yes. Buying local products, dining at local restaurants, choosing homestays, those are all great ways to contribute to the local economy.
What about giving money to beggars, especially children? I've always been a bit conflicted about that.
I understand. The sources actually advise against it.
Oh, really? Why is that?
It can create a cycle of dependency and discourage kids from going to school.
Oh, okay. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's about finding those alternative ways to support people, ways that are more sustainable and empowering in the long run. Look for local charities or social enterprises working to create lasting change and uplift communities.
So it's about being thoughtful with our giving.
Exactly. And it's not always about money. Volunteering your time or skills can be incredibly valuable.
What about those who are planning on trekking? Any advice on being a responsible trekker?
Choose trekking companies that treat their porters fairly. It's so important. Look for companies that provide fair wages, proper equipment, access to health care. They should have the same rights and protections as any other employee.
It seems like common sense, but I guess it's not always the case.
Unfortunately not. But as travelers, we have the power to make conscious choices and support businesses that align with our values.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about choosing the right company.
Right.
It's also about how we interact with porters during the trek.
Absolutely. Treat them with respect, be mindful of their workload, offer to help when appropriate, and show your appreciation with a generous tip.
Those are all great reminders. Now, ethical wildlife encounters.
Yes. It's crucial to choose wildlife experiences that prioritize animal welfare and conservation.
Okay.
The sources strongly recommend supporting ethical wildlife sanctuaries, places where animals are treated with respect and not exploited for entertainment.
That sounds important. What should we look for in an ethical sanctuary?
Sanctuaries that focus on rescue and rehabilitation give animals plenty of space to roam freely. Avoid any practices that exploit or cause them distress.
And how about when we encounter wildlife in its natural habitat?
Remember, we're visitors in their home. Observe from a distance, stay on designated trails, never approach or disturb the animals.
That makes perfect sense. And we should also remember that indigenous peoples and local communities have been coexisting with wildlife for generations. They have so much knowledge to share.
Exactly. Their traditional knowledge is invaluable when it comes to conservation and sustainable practices.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the nuances of responsible travel. It's not just about minimizing our negative impact. It's about actively contributing to the well-being of the environment, local communities, and wildlife.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think we've covered just about every aspect of Nepal travel, from visas and currency to the importance of responsible tourism.
It's been a comprehensive overview.
Now, before we wrap up this first part of our deep dives, I'd love to hear some final thoughts.
Okay.
And maybe some traveler tips.
Sure. Here's something to keep in mind, especially for first-time visitors. Kathmandu.
Yeah.
It can be a bit overwhelming. It's a city that pulsates with energy, sights, sounds, smells.
Yeah.
Embrace the chaos. Take it slow. Don't try to cram too much in.
That's great advice. What about Pokhara? Any tips for that tranquil lakeside city?
If you're looking for a fun way to explore the surroundings at your own pace, rent a scooter.
Okay.
It's a really efficient and enjoyable way to soak in the beauty of Pokhara and the surrounding areas.
Scooter rental, check. What about those of us who are going trekking?
Preparation is key. The weather in the mountains can change quickly, so pack layers,
Right.
good hiking boots,
Yep.
waterproof jacket, all the essentials for a comfortable and safe journey.
What about those infamous squat toilets?
Ah, yes. The squat toilets. They're a common sight in Nepal, and for some travelers, a bit of a hurdle.
Yeah, they can be intimidating.
Practice your squats at home, get those leg muscles ready.
Okay,
Always carry tissues or wet wipes. Toilet paper isn't always provided.
good to know.
And if you're really not comfortable with squat toilets, look for accommodations with Western-style facilities. They are becoming more common, especially in tourist areas.
Okay. Any other squat toilet wisdom you'd like to share?
Just be having a little something to mask those smells can make the experience a bit more pleasant, especially for those with sensitive noses.
That's a great tip. I wouldn't have thought of that. Now, food. Any advice for navigating the culinary scene?
Be adventurous. Nepali cuisine is delicious and diverse, with influences from India, Tibet, China. Don't be afraid to try new dishes.
Okay, I'm ready to expand my palate.
Excellent.
What about those more, adventurous activities? Paragliding, whitewater rafting, that kind of thing.
Do your research. Choose reputable operators with experienced guides and good safety records. Book in advance, especially during peak season.
Got it.
And make sure to factor in the cost of those activities when you're planning your budget.
Speaking of cost, something that can be a bit tricky for some travelers. Bargaining. It's common in Nepal, right? Especially at markets.
It is. The key is to approach it with a sense of humor.
Okay.
Willingness to engage in a little friendly negotiation.
So don't be afraid to haggle a bit.
Not at all. Just be respectful. Always keep it lighthearted. It's not about getting the absolute lowest price. It's about building a rapport with the seller.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Like a cultural exchange, not a battle.
Exact.
What about introverted travelers? Those who might find bargaining or other social interactions a bit daunting.
I get it. Learning a few basic Nepali phrases can be a good icebreaker, shows respect, even simple greetings. And a smile goes a long way.
So true. A smile is universal.
It is. Now, what about those unexpected moments that always seem to pop up when you travel?
Oh, yeah. Those are inevitable.
They are. Be prepared for anything. Nepal's a developing country. Things don't always go as planned.
Okay.
Go with the flow.
Wow.
Be flexible.
And have a sense of humor.
Embrace the chaos.
Exactly. It's often those unexpected moments that create the most memorable stories.
That's great advice for any traveler, really.
It is. And remember, this is just the beginning of your Nepal journey. There's so much more to discover. Well said. And for those listening who are eager to keep learning, we've got something special. In our next segment, we'll share some additional resources that can deepen your understanding of Nepal.
Stay tuned for more fascinating discoveries.
Until then, keep exploring.
Absolutely.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Unpacking all this info about Nepal, something keeps coming back to me. We talked about respecting local culture, being mindful of the environment, supporting communities, but there's a balance, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially in Nepal. Ancient traditions, modern challenges, We want to immerse ourselves but not overstep. We want to help but not cause unintended consequences.
It's like finding the right way to make a positive impact,
Yeah.
making sure it actually helps.
Right, exactly. And the sources talk about this a lot, like giving money to beggars, especially kids, they actually discourage it.
Oh, really? It feels kind of wrong to not help when you see someone in need.
I know. But think about it. It can create the cycle of dependency. Kids might not go to school if they're making money begging.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it that way.
It's about finding other ways to help,
Mm-hmm.
more sustainable ways, like supporting local charities or those social enterprises, ones that are really working to make a difference.
So it's not always about just handing over money.
Right. It's about having a longer-term view. Volunteering your time, your skills, that can be huge.
Okay, that makes sense. And we touched on this before, but those trekking companies, making sure they treat their porters well.
So important, especially in Nepal. Porters are essential to the whole trekking industry there. Carrying heavy loads, tough conditions, they deserve to be treated right.
Totally. So how do we know a company is ethical? What should we look for?
Fair wages, first of all. Proper equipment, healthcare, all of that. They should be treated like any other employee with the same rights and protections.
Seems obvious, but I guess it's not always the case.
Unfortunately, no. But we can choose to support companies that do things right.
Absolutely. It's more than just picking the company, though, isn't it?
Right. It's how you interact with porters on the trek. Treat them with respect. Be mindful of what they're carrying. Offer to help even. And tip generously.
Great reminders for sure. Now, you mentioned tea house trekking earlier. What's that all about?
Oh, it's awesome. Super popular in Nepal, especially in the Annapurna and Everest regions. You're hiking right through these amazing mountains. But instead of camping, at the end of the day, you get to a cozy tea house.
So there's like a place to stay along the way.
Exactly. They've got basic accommodation, meals, sometimes even hot showers.
No need to carry all that heavy gear.
Nope. No tents, sleeping bags, cooking stuff. You can just focus on the experience.
It was probably pretty basic, right? The accommodations.
Yeah, it's not luxury for sure. Shared bathrooms, simple meals. But honestly, that's part of what makes it so great.
Right. It's about getting back to basics.
Exactly. Connecting with nature, with other trekkers, experiencing the Himalayas in a really authentic way.
I love that. Any other benefits to tea house trekking?
Oh, for sure. You're directly supporting the local communities, staying in family-run tea houses, eating local food, contributing to the economy of these small villages.
So you get an amazing experience and help out at the same time. Win-win.
I know, right? Now, sticking with responsible tourism, ethical wildlife encounters, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, it's so important. How can we make sure we're doing it right?
Choose wildlife experiences that put the animals first. Support those ethical wildlife sanctuaries, the ones that treat animals well and don't exploit them.
What should we be looking for specifically? How do we know it's a good sanctuary?
Places that focus on rescue and rehabilitation. They should give the animals plenty of space and not force them to do things that stress them out. Like tricks or performances.
Right. It should be about the animal's well-being.
Exactly. And even when you see wildlife in the wild, remember, you're a guest in their home. Keep your distance, stick to the trails, don't try to touch them or anything.
Yeah, that's common sense. And learning from those indigenous communities, they've been living with wildlife for so long.
They know so much. Their knowledge of the environment is super valuable.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot here. Balance in responsible travel. Tea house trekking. Ethical wildlife. Now let's get to some more practical tips.
Sounds good. The sources have some good advice. First up, packing.
Oh yeah, packing. Always a challenge.
Be prepared for all kinds of weather. Nepal can be unpredictable. Layers are key.
Okay, so I could have a hot sunny day and a chilly night all in the same trip.
Yep, pretty much. And depending on where you're going and the time of year, you might even see rain or snow.
Okay, so I need options.
Exactly. And for those cultural experiences, pack modestly, especially for women. A shawl or a scarf can be really useful for covering up.
Right, for temples and stuff?
Yep. And here's a kind of quirky tip.
Okay, I like quirky tips.
Pack a little bottle of essential oil or some scented hand sanitizer.
Why is that?
Well, in some of the more rural areas, especially the ones with livestock, let's just say the smells can be pretty strong.
Oh, right.
So having something to mask those smells can make things a bit more pleasant, especially for those of us with sensitive noses.
That's a good tip. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Now, food. Any advice on eating my way through Nepal?
Be adventurous. Nepali cuisine is amazing. Influences from India, Tibet, China. It's a real mix.
I've heard about dal bhat. I got to try that.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. But try some of the less familiar dishes, too. You never know what you might discover.
Okay, I'm all for trying new things. Now, what about those more adventurous activities like paragliding, whitewater rafting, all that?
Definitely do your research. Choose companies that have a good reputation, experienced guides, solid safety practices, and book in advance, especially during peak season. Things get busy.
Good point. And, of course, factor the cost of those activities into your budget.
Yep, important. Now, something that some travelers find a little challenging, bargaining.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty common in Nepal, especially in those markets.
It is. Just think of it as a game, a friendly back and forth.
So I shouldn't be afraid to haggle a bit.
Not at all. Just be respectful, keep it lighthearted. It's not really about getting the lowest price possible. It's more about the interaction, building a connection with the seller.
Right, like a cultural exchange.
Exactly.
Now, what about those of us who are, more introverted? Bargaining can be kind of stressful, and just social interactions in general when you're in a new place.
Yeah, I get it. Learning a few basic Nepali phrases can help. Even just simple greetings, it shows respect.
Right.
And a smile goes a long way. It's universal.
So true. Okay, what about when things don't go to plan? Which, let's face it, happens on every trip.
Oh, absolutely. Nepal is still a developing country, so you gotta be prepared for anything.
Okay, so flexibility is key.
Totally. Go with the flow, have a sense of humor. Those unexpected moments often end up being the best stories later.
Okay, I can get behind that. Now, I know we talked about these before, but I got to bring them up again. Squat toilets.
Ah, yes. A classic travel experience.
Any last bits of wisdom?
Just remember, practice those squats at home. Get your legs ready. Always carry tissues or wet wipes, just in case. And if you really can't deal with them, look for places with Western-style toilets. They're becoming more common, especially in the tourist areas.
Good advice. Anything else?
Be mindful of water usage. Only flush toilet paper, and try to conserve water in general, especially in those areas where it's scarce.
Right. Makes sense. Wow, I think we've really covered it all. From packing tips to, squat toilets.
I think so. You're ready for Nepal.
I'm feeling a lot more confident about my future trip, that's for sure.
Good.
But I'm sure there's still so much more to learn about Nepal.
Oh, absolutely. There are endless stories, traditions, experiences waiting to be discovered.
And for those listening who want to keep exploring, we have a final segment coming up. We'll be sharing some resources that can help you dive even deeper into Nepal. Books, documentaries, podcasts, all that good stuff.
We'll give you some great starting points for your own research, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Ready for more Nepal? We're unlocking a treasure trove of resources.
That's right. Books, documentaries, podcasts. Take your understanding to a whole new level. It's like a curated guide,
I love that.
to help you explore the parts of Nepal that you're most interested in.
Okay, so let's start with books. What would you recommend for someone who wants to, go deeper than a typical travel guide?
Okay, so for a really nuanced perspective on Nepal's transition from monarchy to democracy,
Okay.
forget Kathmandu, An Elegy for Democracy by Manjushri Thapa.
Okay.
It's a must-read. It's not just about politics, though. It really gets into, the societal dynamics,
Yeah.
the challenges and aspirations of the Nepali people.
It's giving a bigger picture.
Right, exactly.
I'm always drawn to stories that, give you that kind of insight into a culture. What about a book that really captures, the spirit of Nepal?
The Snow Leopard by Peter Matthiessen. It's a classic. It'll transport you straight to the Himalayas. It's about his trek through these remote landscapes, searching for the elusive snow leopard. But it goes beyond the adventure. It's about nature, spirituality, searching for meaning.
I'm adding that to my list. What about something about Kathmandu?
The Living Goddess by Isabella Tree. It's about the Kumari,
Oh, right.
the young girl who's chosen to be a living goddess in Nepal. It looks at the traditions, the beliefs. It's a really fascinating look at faith, tradition, and modern life in Kathmandu. You know how those all intersect.
Okay, now I'm thinking documentaries. What would you recommend?
Manakamana. It's a really unique film. It focuses on people riding a cable car to the Manakamana temple.
Oh, wow.
You see their hopes, their anxieties, what this journey means to them. It's a really cool window into everyday life in Nepal.
That sounds amazing, like a microcosm of society.
It really is.
What about a documentary for, adventure lovers?
Sherpa. It's a powerful film about the Sherpa people, the ones who guide climbers up Everest.
Right.
It shows the risks they take, their resilience, and, that complex relationship between the Sherpas and foreign climbers.
It's a whole other perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now you're the podcast expert.
Oh, you know it.
Any podcast you'd recommend about Nepal?
The Nepal Now podcast. It's great. They have conversations with all sorts of people in Nepal. Gives you a really diverse range of perspective
Okay.
on the culture, society, current events.
It's like a direct connection to the country.
It is. And for adventure lovers, The Trail Less Traveled. It's all about exploring the world, off-the-beaten-path experiences. They have several episodes on Nepal.
Amazing. I think this is a great starting point.
Definitely.
But, this deep dive, it's just the beginning.
Oh, yeah. There's always more to learn.
The more you learn, the more you realize there's more to discover.
So true.
Keep diving deeper into those topics that grab you.
Yeah, keep that curiosity going.
Read, watch, listen. Nepal's waiting.
And when you're planning your trip, remember what we talked about. Respect the culture, travel responsibly, and be ready for the unexpected.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Nepal. I hope it's inspired you to start planning your own adventure.
I hope so too. Until next time, keep exploring.
Namaste.
Namaste.